Brandon Staley, your ways cost your team a shot at the playoffs. I'll explain why on the other side. Cole Sports presents on the daily. Another day, that means another on the daily. It's on tap, presented by Cole Sports. Cole Johnson's right here, live in living color. It's Thursday, and we're going to get right to it because we need this topic to get right down to it. The Los Angeles Chargers, I'd rather say San Diego, but I know they're not there anymore. The Los Angeles Chargers head coach, Brandon Staley, swashbuckler, defensive guru, young, bright mind. But he cost his team a playoff bid. And there were a few decisions that did this because there was a few reckless decisions which caused it. And not just one, not just two, a myriad of them. And because of that, chill.
We gotta pause that.
So here's the skinny. Mr. Staley, you have a team that has a wonderful young quarterback in Justin Herbert. You have a stud wide receiver in Keenan Allen. You have a stud, sometimes a stud in the making, Mike Williams. You have an off and on decent tight end in Cook. You have a good offensive line, not a great one, but a good one. And you have nice pieces on defense, too. I mean, Joey Bosa is a good example. Derwin James on the secondary is another. But you put your team in disadvantageous positions time and time again. And I know you can justify this, though, because earlier this year when you went to Arrowhead, you were down a few. You had a last drive, and you needed a touchdown to get your team to win. You had to do a fourth down. And you had to convert it in order to do this and achieve this end. You convert it, you scored a touchdown, you win in Arrowhead. And people were lauding you. And actually, that fourth down made a lot of sense. But you got fourth down happy. And what do I mean? When you had the return matchup against the Chiefs at home, you ran 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 5 fourth downs. I actually would like to say 6, but you ran 5 fourth downs where in this case it counts. 2 of them you did convert, the other 3 you did not. And all 3 of those you did not convert, it cost you at least 3 points each time you did not convert on fourth down. Now, there was one time you didn't convert, but your defense decided to come through, force a sack fumble, and you got 6 after that sack fumble. But this wonderful catch from Mahomes to Kelsey ended that game 34-28, not in your favor. And that put a big-time dent in your playoff hopes. 5 fourth down conversions you tried. 5. Why did you try that many? And then people had the nerve to say, well, the analytics was in his favor. Bump analytics. Sometimes analytics has to be bumped in lieu of, I don't know, logic. And if that wasn't bad enough, so you had an easy game. You go to Houston, you play the Texans, a team that is horrible on the ground and not all that great on offense. Yet your defense decides to allow 189 yards in a 41-29 defeat. And Mr. Ryan Burkhead gained 100 yards in the game. Now, this should have put you in position like the Colts, winning you in instead of winning you in on week 17. You should have had this happen when you played at home against the Broncos and you took care of business there. and you would have went to the playoffs if you did beat the Texans and not allow 41 points and almost 200 yards on the ground to them. It's just those things. You did not have your team prepared in a game that you knew you needed, so you can make your jaunt to the playoffs easier and put yourself in position to challenge whoever you would face. And you would put in the back burner, well, we have to stress and strain and struggle to make the playoffs. You would have had that checked, and then you would have said, okay, we can concentrate for the wild card round. No, the swashbuckler you are, you couldn't live with that. So we get to the win and you're in, or tie and you're in game in Las Vegas. Apropos place to actually tell you where you fouled up here. Now, I can go with the 4th and 8 from the 18-yard line, your own 18-yard line in the second quarter. Now, to me, that is egregious. Why would you go for it for that many yards, that deep in your territory, is beyond me. And you can't give me analytics because that is not analytical. You see, it was something that Ryan Clark, a ESPN analyst, former Pittsburgh Steeler defensive back, he said something that reminded me of what I learned when I first understood what football was all about. Quote, you want every single possession on offense, every single one of them, to end with a kick, be it a point after touchdown, a field goal, or a punt. Close quote.
Of course.
No, but you want to roll the dice. And as I said, wonderful place to roll the dice, Vegas. So you roll that dice, you don't convert that fourth down, I'm sorry. The Raiders get the ball in the red zone already. And of course, your defense holds and they kick a field goal. Now, your analytical self, if that field goal did not go down, you ended up tied going into overtime, right? Well, what if that 3 points didn't happen? The score would be 29-26. Is that right? But no, you wanted to roll the dice, and you rolled the dice one too many times. And then the final roll of the dice that did you in. Now, people were up in arms and in uproar about the timeout you called. I'm not. I get it. You wanted to put yourself in the most advantageous position to now fight for a tie because it was less than 40 seconds to go in the game. So you needed to have this happen so a tie could be possible. You wanted to force a tie because if you did, you, along with the Raiders, would advance and you would be the 6th seed. You would be the team to play the Bills, not the Patriots. However, it's not the timeout that bothered me. It was the personnel you put in after the timeout. Because your reason and rationale was, quote, I wanted to put in my run defense personnel, the best 11 guys to stop the run. That's why I called the timeout. Close quote. Okay, so you called the timeout. Bravo. I'm glad you called the timeout. The problem with that is Josh Jacobs still gained 10 yards on you. So how good were your adjustments in calling the timeout? You might as well not called it if you were going to put in personnel that was going to make it even harder for you to stop the run. But no, you rolled the dice. And just like all the other times you rolled the dice, you came up craps once again. And this is how you and the other 53 players on your team looked. You saw the black and silver celebrate, but you saw the powder blue and yellow in tatters. And you know who you need to blame for that, Mr. Staley? You need to blame yourself. You Yes, that's right, Brandon Staley. Your fault for not having the Chargers be in the playoffs. They should be there right now. This should not even be an issue. You should have had this team already there. They have the talent, they have the fight, they have the ability. But what they don't have is a head coach that seems to actually think, or at least think correctly. Because if they did, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But I did not know that I was going to run into the NFL equivalent of Daryl Morey. For those who are unaware of him, he is right now the president of basketball operations for the 76ers. And he is on record in saying that he doesn't even watch games, but he makes moves based on analytics. Mr. Staley, you have made a lot of these moves and you've called a lot of these errant fourth downs based on analytics. The only question I have to ask you is, how far have those analytics gotten you? Because right now, you're sitting on the couch, just like we are, and just like and just like 18 other teams. You, sir, cost your team the opportunity to be ahead of schedule and be in the playoffs. But now you are looked upon as a laughingstock. But it's not the team that's a laughingstock. No, it's you. I'm not laughing because I find a lot of the decisions you have made on the field, Mr. Staley, rather pathetic. And this is not coming from a Chargers fan. This is coming from an NFL fan. This is coming from a football fan. You knew those decisions would cost your team, yet you did them anyway because you're a rebel, because you know better than we do, because you are the guru. You have the brain. No, sir. No, sir. For that thinking, this is why you have to, chill. Go ahead. Tell
We
me.
gotta pause that.
Now, if you happen to agree with what I'm saying, or if you disagree, doesn't matter. I want to hear what you have to say. Agree or disagree. Please tell me what you think. Like this video and share this throughout your social media community. Now, comment below. Tell me what you think. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell to get all content that comes from here. From all of us here at Cole Sports, I'm Cole Johnson, and this has been yet another installment of Cole Sports on the